Hey everyone, well, we are back again. I'm going to pull this up a little bit here because some people have been saying they can't hear me. Is that loud enough? Anyways, we're back, and I'm going to do a little bit of a different video here today because something has come up that I think might be a idea that other people consider doing if they haven't already done so. And it kind of happened for me by a strange coincidence. I have over the years, but more so in the last little while, upon retiring for the evening to the bedroom, if you will, got into the habit of doing a little, what's the word I'm going to call it here? Mental projecting or mental creating or whatever, because along the way here of the Heart Center awakening and going through this evolutionary process, one of the things that I have learned quickly is that thinking something, be it negative or positive, is one thing, but saying something that is negative or positive verbally is quite another matter. And there is that old expression, you should be real careful what you think about because it may happen. And I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to create, for lack of a better term, my own mantra. Now, most people know that a mantra is something like a sound syllable or the traditional way of presenting a mantra. And in some cases, in the old days, I don't know if they still do it nowadays, but you went to the guru, and in some cases you went to an organization and you paid them X amount of money to get your own personal mantra. And in some cases it took you months or years to get it, blah, 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 with all of the ritual and the paraphernalia that went along with it. So what I decided to do, being at the point of evolution where I believe I am, that creating my own mantra was suitable for me because I had developed this habit of doing a bit of programming or a bit of what I call think tanking or positive thinking before I go to sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, at least, with some kind of positive input. And I found also that when setting up with some positive thoughts and some positive thinking in regards to going to sleep, in a lot of cases it seemed to reflect in my dream state, but more so recently in what I call the dream state training. And one of the things that I have learned recently to kind of get to it, I'm going to give you a rather, shall we say, a long-winded explanation here because I think it is important that the whole thing be taken a look at here. I have learned recently, as many of you have also, that the imagination and the heart center and the creative center, which is that little chakra just below, all right, and the dimensional center, which is the chakra between the heart center and the throat, which some people like to call the high heart, which is, well, I'm not going to say it's incorrect, but it's actually the dimensional chakra and not the high heart kind of deal. So anyways, putting together the idea that the imaginative faculty, which has now been enhanced by the activation of that chakra at the back of the head, the source center, which is the heart center chakra itself, which supplies the source power, energy, creative, God, goddess, energy, whatever you want to call it, type of thing. And then the creative center, which is just below the heart center. Combining the three together, you could say they represent, in a nifty little way, body, mind, spirit. Or mind is the builder, source of the power, creative center is the result. All terms we've heard before and reused many, many times over. So since the power of words seems to become much more relevant as we're going through this evolutionary process, I decided to create my own mantra. Now, I'm going to say it here verbally, and then I'm going to go into how important I took this event and how significantly it took up a lot of time to create it. All right, it just didn't come at the snap of a finger, and in 20 minutes or 2 days. This actually took me months to put this together because of finding the right words with the right vibration, which were appropriate for me in my state of mentality, my state of spirituality, my state of emotionality, and my state of multidimensionality. All right, all of those things had to be taken into consideration. So I came up with the mantra as follows. Behold, I make all things new in these bodies contained within this one. That was the mantra. Some of you might say, well, that doesn't sound very perky to me. Okay. The point of the fact is, all of those words have great significance to me. My vibration and energy, all right, an emanation of such is like my signature. It is my vibration. Everyone is unique. Everyone has their own signature. Everyone has their own vibration. So if you've really got nothing to do and you're tired of Netflix, okay, and you know you just got dumped by your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you're feeling depressed and sad, why not actually do something very creative for yourself and create yourself a mantra? Now, if I go back and I go back to the beginning of mine, I'm going to take it word by word here, all right? I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It might take me 2 hours. But you'll notice I use the word behold, all right? The reason I picked that word is because it doesn't get used that much in our society. So it doesn't have a lot of sticky strings and gooey crap and wordbology and verbology and other junk stuck to it, because it's not a word we use every day. And the second fact was, I wanted something that would get the attention of the little boy that lives inside of me. You know, we all have a little boy, we all have a little girl, and sometimes our little boy and our little girl inherit things that are not good for us. And we have nasty little temper tantrums, okay? And we get our panties or our shorts all in a knot for some reason, and we get into our emotional bodies, and we kick and stomp, and we raise a big fuss. And then we get into our mental body when we get finished having a big fuss and kicking and stomping and screaming, and we do the other thing, go round and round and round in our head forever and ever and ever, creating something like a circle merry-go-round. And we can't get off the merry-go-round because we've actually created our own monsters. There isn't anyone on this planet who isn't their own worst enemy. You don't have any enemies. The only enemy you have is you. And the energy you reflect creates more enemies for you. They come toward you in the form of shape, things, circumstances, situations, people, by definition, that you literally created. So, if we're going to learn how to be co-creators in an appropriate manner, pay attention, class, from this point on would be good to take notes. You're now going to create yourself a mantra. The word behold, for me, achieves something. And I've spent at least a week, believe it or not, a week at night figuring, okay, what's the first word that I can use to get a hold of the mental, emotional, spiritual, as I said. Something that's going to get my attention, but it's not going to scare the crap out of me, but it's going to go, whoa, kind of thing. Okay, hey, look, hey, wow, what happens? I need to pay attention here. So that was the word I picked, and the other reason I picked it is because it's a word that's not used much in our society. So I knew it was relatively clean and clear, all right? From that point on, I knew I had my attention, okay? The next word that I picked, behold, all right, after behold, what did I say? Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Shows you how good my mantra works, right? Shining example, okay? Behold, I'm just kidding. Behold, I, okay? Once you get the attention of yourself with some kind of word or symbolic kind of form shape to it, I has to be defined as being some form of being you. So in order to use the word I, what I needed to do, and take this very seriously, this is not a kid's game here, okay? This is creative essence that is very, very bad. Behold, I gave you the reference to I. What I had to do then was I had to figure out or create or manifest some form of what I thought I, being me, if I will, had some kind of form, all right? And when I say form, I don't mean physical form. I mean consciousness form. What sort of being, no, I'm not saying person, what sort of being am I, kind of thing. In other words, I had to learn, create something that I could recognize as representative of being I, okay? Now, the reason I'm doing all of this in slow-mo here is so that others of you can do the same thing. You don't have to rush out and pay the guru or sit there with a smock on, okay, and do all kinds of prayers and incantations and light candles and bang on chimes and all of that stuff, you know, that other people do for entertainment purposes. You can actually do something creative here. And that's why I picked the word I in that form. And then I created the form through some visual representation, okay? The next word I picked was make. I make, and when I use the word make, it refers to create, okay? I make all things new, all right? I picked the word make simply because make, to me, has the right vibration. You could have used create, you could have used an extra number of words, or you could have used whatever. But again, I paid attention. I'm not going to go through all of them here because it's going to take too long. But I paid particular attention to each word, all right? And then it was funny as I'm doing this, and like I said, it took me about 3 months to get this thing complete. And then I had to say it, all right? Behold, I make all things new within me and all of my bodies. The idea here with each word is picking the word, being very meticulous, and trying to address just more than me, the visual presentation that you see on a YouTube video. I wanted to create words that covered all of the aspects and could reach all of me. And the reason being for that is this. I'm one of those individuals, there are probably a great many other individuals out there who actually do and have through experience perceive, I'm not going to use the word believe here, perceive that we do have a physical body, we do have a mental body, we do have an emotional body, and we do have what I call an etheric body. Most people only stick to the three. They don't go to the etheric body at all. The medical profession and science as a whole does not recognize the existence of the etheric body, which is a duplicate of the physical. However, I have experienced personally, I don't care whether science has proven it or not, additional bodies within the containment of my physical body. So far, initially the ones that matter the most, about 12 of them, all right? These are most significant and are contained within the physical. I also have experienced other bodies beyond that are the creation of the other bodies, the bodies of the bodies kind of thing. However, I believe I mentioned in a video one time, a very long time ago, that after counting about 168 of them, I kind of gave up, got a little boring counting, so I stopped doing it. But anyway, that's another story. So when addressing all of me, I took that into consideration. The same thing that you need to do is you need to disassociate from anything that you think could influence you externally in that way. Okay, remember something here, and this is the part that I found extremely difficult. We have become so connected to external sources, belief systems, philosophies, ideologies. We know very little about the internal of us because we're such like puppets on a string in most cases. A lot of people won't like that expression, but that's the way we all feel at times, and we're really feeling it now with what's going on. So over that period of time, what I did was I took a look at each word meticulously, okay? And you may want to jot some words down, okay? Say, hey, I think Mel may be onto something here. I am onto something, actually, to be quite honest with you. That's why I'm sharing it. And creating your own mantra cannot be done in 5 minutes or an hour. It can't be. If you've created one out of that length of time, it's very Mickey Mouse and probably doesn't work anyway. Because you have to go at this very meticulously. You have to choose each word. You have to take that word. You have to do this, okay? For example, the word behold. Okay, I'm going to go back to the first again here. I'm very, very meticulous about this because words have such impact, especially words that you're using with your mental body. What I did with the word behold is I held it here. Okay, all of you should have started to learn how to do this. Consciousness is not restricted to one particular location in the body. It is everywhere, and it can go anywhere. So what I did was I started moving it around, first of all into the mental body, and I see if it resonated or vibrated with me. And then I moved it into the emotional body. You all know where the emotional body is. It's down in the solar plexus. So I simply take a projection of my consciousness, move it down into the solar plexus area, and repeat the mantra in the solar plexus area. And some people say, well, how the hell do you do that? It's easy. I just showed you and told you how to do it. You take your mental body and you think over the mantra word that I picked for myself, behold. But you don't say it with your mouth. You say it with your mental body, but you do it down in the emotional body. And you see what a response you get, all right? Then you can take it up to the heart center, and you can use that word again in the heart center. So if you get a positive reaction in the mental, you get a positive reaction in the heart center, you get a positive reaction in the emotional center, you're onto something. You've got a probable word that will be very effective for you. And this is the way that I went through them. Now, to take it a step further, all right, I'm a believer, I am a believer that eventually all of us will discover that the chakras, the 12 chakra systems within the body, are simply access points to different dimensions, timelines, realities, and in order to enter them and to maintain them and experience them other than just in the vague form in the dream state, we have to have the appropriate personality development to get there. And I also believe that focus, discipline, and creative application is essential in being able to do this. To put it to you mildly, if I go back when I first got involved with spirituality, okay, which is basically close to 40 years ago, I would consider myself at 39 still a child. By the time I got to 50, I'm still an immature child. All right? Even now, at 76, what's happened is I don't feel that many times that I have reached full maturity yet. And I feel very much at this particular point, and this is going to kind of give you an indication of where you're at kind of thing. I realize that the older you get, the more you've heard it all, you've seen it all, you did it all, you've done it all, whatever, okay? But one of the things that I found that actually really applied to me when I realized I was actually really growing up and becoming an adult, not just because my body got older, but I was actually becoming an adult when I started looking around at other people and see some of the things that they were doing, and I'm just saying, are they ever going to get it? Are we ever going to stop doing the same things over and over again? Is it really necessary for people to still keep doing the same mistake in every family and every generation, doing the same stupid, dumb things that we do? And somebody in the spiritual community will say, oh, you shouldn't judge people. I'm not judging people at all. I'm pointing out a fact. Stupid is as stupid says, and I was the best of the best. However, we are coming of age. Part of coming of age is to be a creative essence in yourself, and you start within yourself. Now, my first mantra, as I presented it to you here, behold, I make all things new within me. I left out the other part because I don't want to kind of repeat the whole thing. You'll notice that it almost sounds like a biblical reference at some point, all right? One of the things that I have done in the past, and it is this, when I was about 45, I also had a very vested interest in reading the Bible. I'm not religious, I don't go to church, and I would never set foot in one at this point. But I did study the Bible. I didn't just read the damn thing, I studied it. And I looked and I discovered that there were certain words in there that to me seemed to be downloaded, if you will, at strategic points for those who had the ears to hear or the eyes to see, so to speak, using some of that reference. So I realized that the Bible is a very coded book, and to actually know what's in it and be able to read it, you have to go by word vibration and sequence of sentence. All right. Someone say, whoa, what's he talking about now? All right. Information can be hidden or presented in word vibration. And that's where I learned it at that particular point. And then I knew I was onto something about self-discovery and the potential that we all have. So at this point, I got off topic a little bit. Sorry about that. I kind of like to give the big picture as much as possible when I'm doing a video. It's just the nature of the beast called me, okay? So anyways, when you're picking the words, you need to pick them out what resonates for you, what makes you feel vibratorily balanced in different levels, okay? And even with the chakra system. Each chakra system and each chakra hookup within the physical body is a different vibration and a different pattern. Now, to put the whole pieces together, there are a whole large number of you who are now very familiar with traveling through, now listen close to this part, okay? Who are familiar with traveling through in the dream state, different timelines, different dimensions, different vibratory spin cycles, if you will. Call it a feeling, for lack of a better, if you want to use simplicity. You have a feeling of a rhythm or a cycle or a beat or a pulse, whatever you want to call it, as you move through these dimensions. Now, in your dream state training, you're also being given continuing training about moving through these dimensions. And some of you are going to be able to develop the ability to be able to communicate with a lot of the individuals who are in these timelines and dimension. Sounds like I'm doing a science fiction here, isn't it? I'm not. This is all reality, okay? One of the things that I have learned recently in the dream state training is this. Every time that you go somewhere that is new as you experience it, you have created it. You have literally. How many do you remember when you have your dream state training, you seem to get these different positions and different, titles or leadership roles or capacities that you're doing? I think everybody gets some of that where they're saying, like, what the hell's going on? I've never been even interested in that. But you got the training or the input for it. The reason for that is so you could create these different timelines and dimensions. You're all co-creators, all right? Now we're starting to get the gist of it. And now, in order to bring, at this point in time, more balance into our physical existence while we're here in the 3D timeline, all right? We now have the ability to create stability by using power vibration words to stabilize ourselves at all of these levels that we're going through. All right, now, believe it or not, watch the controversy I do with this one. A lot of you right now are having problems with digestive problems. All right. What if I told you that if you pick a word that vibrates with your stomach, all right, and somebody's going to say, where the hell is he going with this? There is a vibratory word that you can use that could do the same thing as if you had an upset stomach and you had to take some gunk or junk or pharmacy or pharmaceutical drug to calm your stomach. All right. There is a word that each one has within you. If you find that word and it vibrates within the stomach area, you can put your stomach back into balance at the etheric level, which will filter over into physical reality over a period of time. All right. Example, case in point. Behold, I make all things new within me, and the bodies within those. All right. I change the last two syllables of my mantra quite often, simply because in relationship to how I feel in any given day. That's a bit racy on my part. I kind of overstepped what I should have done, but I wanted to add in that part at the end. It keeps changing and evolving, those last two frames of words. So when you do it, you may just want to pick out 2 or 3 or 4 word sentence, all right? You may want to start just at 1 word for now, or 2 words, or 3 words. You have to find out first what you're capable of doing, and then you need to do it this way, okay? Look, this is the way you do it. Once you start picking the words, you need to take those words, like I said, down into the heart center chakra, and you need to materialize it. What you need to do, what I mean by materialize it, is to give it form, all right? To give it form, you need to see it there, all right? You create it with the mental body, you think about the word, you bring it down into the heart center chakra, you see it there as a word, printed word, if you will, and then you have to feel the vibration of it. If the vibration feels okay, then it's potentially one that you can use. Then you go to the emotional body, you go to the etheric body, you go to the mental body again. If you see all 3 resonate, and if you do, bingo, you've got a word, all right? And like I said, this may take you quite a period of time, but it will occupy you by teaching you discipline, focus, patience, and a whole lot of other stuff that most of us don't know about yet. And the other thing it will do is it will make you aware of possible and probable areas of your personality. Now, I'm not going to say it needs work, because I don't like that friggin' word. Work is something I don't want to do. I want to have fun. I don't have work. I don't do work anymore. That's for slaves. I don't work. All right. One thing, they don't pay you enough these days. All right. And no, I don't do that. So anyways, when you do this, make sure that you're paying attention to the response that you're getting within yourself. Now, for some people, what I'm saying here is going to be completely off the wall. They're not going to totally understand it at all. And as far as most twin flames in Facebook groups getting what I'm saying, they won't have a clue what I'm talking about, so we won't even go there. I'm not even going to title it in any way in that relationship or put it in the tags, actually. Yeah, I'll put it in the tags just for the hell of it. Anyways, when you finally get the word, the sentence, or whatever, then what you need to do is whenever you have a moment or two, all right, whenever you have a moment or two, once you've created your mantra, then what you need to do is to take a moment, a few moments during the day, or when you're meditating, or, you could be just sitting watching television, if you will, and you just close your eyes for a second and you just repeat the mantra, and you just let it flow through you everywhere. And it will reach all of the appropriate portions and parts of the body that it needs to go to, and things will begin to change, all right? Remember, this is important. We're all preparing for some form of ascension, okay? That form of ascension will allow us, a great many of us, to actually succeed in the ascension process. And if we choose to, okay, remember something here at this point. I want to say this to you. At this point, we're all committed to die, literally. Don't matter how old you are, sooner or later, we're all going to die, physically, all right? And in most cases, one of the things that I've noticed about death and dying lately, okay, to get into this subject for a moment, is when you come in as a baby, what are you in for the first 3 or 4 years? You come in, you're wrapped in diapers. And what I see with older people going out these days, what are they doing? They're laying in bed and they're wrapped in diapers, and somebody's got to feed them. There's no difference between the beginning and the end, 65 or 80 years, and everybody more or less is doing the same thing, come in a diaper and go out in one. This sucks. Okay, there's got to be an improvement here somewhere. So the ascension process is going to allow that to happen, where individuals will have the choice as to how they're going to move into their next dimension or their next awareness, and they're evolving in that direction right now. So that what happens is, as you create this mantra for yourself, you are actually changing the very cellular and molecular structure of all of these bodies, being physical, mental, emotional, and the others that are entailed at the same time. Also, it opens up new doorways for a connection with what I'm going to call the oversoul, you, okay, which is the total you, whatever you want to call it. Use whatever label you want, doesn't matter. And this will connect that with you, and then you can finally see, excuse me, where you're going type of scenario, and go from there. So just remember, when you pick the words, the key word is the first one, and that key word needs to get the attention, especially of the emotional, the mental, and the etheric body in one shot. Call it the little boy, the little girl. You need something to get the attention. And then start picking words that are fun, creative. It could be a sentence, it could be a whole paragraph, it could be whatever you want. And when you use it strategically during the day, whenever you have a spare moment, you close your eyes, you repeat the mantra, you feel the flow of it going through the body. You only need to do it maybe once or twice and then let it go. When I go to bed at night, which is the time that I use it, what I do is I'll take about a 30-second meditation. That's about it. Lay on my back, close my eyes, and I repeat the mantra like how am I going to describe this? Like a rippling wave going through the whole of the body. And as the wave is rippling through the body, I can feel the word or the words moving with it. I can feel the words flowing through the body. All right. So I know I'm creating. And the carryover is, again, it gets reflected in my dream state training, because now I'm doing different things which I'm not going to share now. I will share later, that have been forthcoming for me, using the mantra system of creating it yourself kind of deal. And I wanted to share that with you because there's even more available goodies, as I like to call them, for a lot of people if you're prepared to kind of put the work into this. And like I said, it may take you a week, it may take you 2 weeks, it may take you a month or more to diddle and play with this until you get it right. And when you have it right, oh, I forgot something here too. And when you really get it right, you should be able to verbally say it out loud, and you should be able to feel it come right back to you. You should be able to feel it go out, and you should be able to feel it coming back and flowing through you. Like an ebb and flow, okay, of in with the new and out with the old. You've heard me use that term many times before. So now what's happening is you're participating now, because the out-breath of society is very quickly coming to an end. And we're going to start a new in-breath. And this little mantra thing that I'm talking about will assist a great many of you going forward. And if there are any questions on it, you can leave them in the comments below. And hopefully, when I'm not feeling too lazy, I'll answer them for you. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.